This audiobook reveals the silent power of letting go, the sacred reversal that makes reality obey without force. The more you surrender, the more life surrenders to you. You'll discover a hidden law. When you stop chasing, everything starts arriving. Let go and watch the universe move for you. Chapter 1. When you stop chasing, it arrives. You have been running for so long, chasing after the things you desire. Perhaps you feel if you run fast enough or try hard enough, you'll finally grasp them. But notice this curious truth. The more desperately you chase, the farther away your goal seems to drift. It is as if the very act of chasing pushes what you want out of reach. Picture a child in a sunlit meadow trying to catch a butterfly. The child lunges and reaches, but the butterfly flutters just out of reach each time. Finally, the child grows tired and simply sits down amidst the soft grasses. In that moment of stillness, the butterfly gently comes to rest on her shoulder. When you stop chasing, it arrives. What this child discovers in the meadow is an ageless secret of life. When you cease your frantic pursuit, what you seek often finds you. It's like chasing your own shadow. The faster you run after it, the faster it flees. But if you turn toward the sun, your shadow falls behind you. So it is with happiness and peace. Chase them, and they dart away, slow down, and turn toward the light of the present, and they quietly follow. You may have noticed this in your own life. Think of a time you searched frantically for an answer or a lost item, only to have it appear once you stopped looking. Or recall wanting someone's attention so badly, only to feel them withdraw until you let go, and then they reached out. Life has a way of rewarding our letting go in surprising fashion. This is sometimes called the backwards law or the reversal code. By letting go of your feverish grasp, you create space for your desires to flow in naturally. In this chapter, you are beginning a journey into a new way of being. Feel the truth of this paradox in your own experience. You have been taught to hustle, strive, and pursue relentlessly, yet here you sense that there is another way, a softer, wiser way. A way in which letting go accomplishes more than holding on, and in which stilling yourself invites the whole universe to conspire on your behalf. Take a deep breath now. Feel the tightness of chasing relax, just a little. What if, for this moment, you stopped running? Allow yourself to pause. Feel your heart beating, the gentle rise and fall of your breath. As you listen, imagine the thing you desire most. See yourself taking a step back from it, releasing your white-knuckled grip. Watch as it stops running from you. In the calm of your non-chasing presence, imagine that desire turning around and beginning to move toward you. For now, you don't need to reach out and grab it. You are simply observing, allowing, and trusting. You may feel a sense of relief begin to wash over you, a relief that comes from not having to chase anymore. This is the first key. When you let go of chasing, you open the door for life to come to you. Stay with that feeling of relief and curiosity. In the silence that follows your surrender, notice how much more spacious your mind and heart feel. By the simple act of pausing your pursuit, you have already begun to glimpse the power of letting go. As we continue this journey, you will discover how reality responds when you stop running after it. For now, rest in this new truth. What is meant for you will approach in its own time when you stop chasing it. You need not run anymore. The butterfly can come to you. Chapter 2. Surrender to win. To surrender can feel like the last thing you want to do when facing a challenge. You may equate surrender with defeat, imagining that if you stop fighting or pushing, you will lose. But often the opposite is true. By surrendering, you open the door to a greater victory. Sometimes, in letting go of the struggle, you win a peace and a result that brute force could never achieve. Consider the ancient fable of the mighty oak and the humble reed. In a fierce storm, the rigid oak refuses to bend. It stands firm against the howling winds, determined not to yield, until the wind snaps its great trunk and the proud oak crashes to the ground. Meanwhile, the slender reed bows low with the gusts, surrendering to the storm's force. When the winds die down, the reed rises again, unharmed. The oak fought and lost. The reed surrendered and survived. In yielding, the reed prevailed. This is the paradox of surrender. In your life, being like the oak might mean insisting on having things your way, clinging to control, or resisting change at all costs. It can feel strong in the moment, but it often leads to stress, conflict, and burnout. Being like the reed, however, means allowing life to move as it will and adjusting with grace. It doesn't mean you have no desires or boundaries. It means you choose your battles wisely and release the need to force every outcome. You surrender to the flow of events, and in doing so, you remain intact and find a path through the storm. Surrendering to win is not the same as giving up on life. It is an active, courageous choice to trust the larger process at work. Imagine you are caught in a strong river current. You could flail and fight the water, exhausting yourself, or you could allow the current to carry you for a while, keeping yourself afloat and conserving energy to guide yourself when needed. By working with the currents of life rather than against them, you reach your destination with far less struggle. In this moment, think of an area of your life where you feel you are fighting relentlessly. It might be a relationship where you're trying to force someone to change, or a project where you're pushing yourself to the brink. Notice how this constant effort has been making you feel. Now, gently consider, what would it be like to surrender in this situation? Not to abandon it, but to release the tight grip of control and trust life a little more. Close your eyes and take a slow, deep breath. On your inhale, gather up all the tension, resistance, and pushing you've been carrying in this situation. On the exhale, imagine dropping that weight, as if setting down a heavy stone. Feel the relief as you let go of the need to fight. Picture yourself as that flexible reed, bending with the winds of change rather than breaking. How does the situation appear now, from this perspective of surrender? Perhaps you see new solutions emerging naturally, or you simply feel a sense of peace, knowing you don't have to strain so hard. By surrendering, you align with the deeper currents of reality instead of exhausting yourself swimming upstream. You might find that what you were trying to achieve begins to unfold on its own once you stop forcing it. This is the quiet triumph of surrender. You win not by overpowering, but by yielding and thus outlasting the storm. In the chapters to come, we will explore this art of letting go from many angles. For now, remember the wisdom of the reed. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is surrender. Chapter 3. Why releasing is receiving. Imagine a traveler crossing a desert, carrying a heavy sack of provisions. Over time, the traveler accumulates more and more, afraid to let anything go even as the load becomes overwhelming. One day, someone offers the traveler a vessel of fresh water, but the traveler's arms are so full and his grip so tight on his belongings that he cannot accept the life-saving drink. In clinging to everything, he receives nothing new. Life often works this way. When your hands are full or clenched shut, you cannot receive the gifts that life is trying to offer you. Sometimes, you have to release what you're holding in order to make space for something greater. An old parable illustrates this beautifully. In one version, villagers set a simple trap for monkeys using a jar filled with nuts. The jar has an opening just wide enough for a monkey's hand. Drawn by the scent, a monkey reaches in and grabs a fistful of nuts, but with its fist now bulging around the treasure, the monkey cannot pull its hand back out through the narrow neck of the jar. The creature is trapped not by ropes or walls, but by its own refusal to let go. Freedom is just one unclenched hand away, but the monkey clings stubbornly to the handful of nuts, unwilling to surrender its prize, even as the trappers approach. We might smile at the monkey's predicament, yet how often do we behave in the same way? We hold tightly to what we have or how we think things should be. Old habits, outdated goals, grudges, or even a specific vision of success. Our fists are closed, grasping yesterday's ideas or yesterday's troubles. In doing so, we trap ourselves, unable to move forward or receive the new opportunities waiting just beyond our stubborn grip. Releasing is receiving because it creates an opening. The moment you let go of that old belief, that insistence, that attachment, your hand and your heart opens. And in that openness, life can place new gifts into your palm. Perhaps you've experienced this. Letting go of a job that was draining you, only to have a better career opportunity appear. Or finally releasing a past resentment, only to feel an unexpected surge of love and connection in your relationships. When you release, you make room for change, growth, and grace. Try this simple exercise right now. Make a tight fist with one of your hands. Squeeze it hard. Notice how your forearm tenses, how rigid and closed your hand is. Imagine that your fist contains something you are afraid to lose. Maybe a relationship, a job, or a dream you've been forcing. It's safe here in your closed hand, but nothing else can enter. Now, when you're ready, slowly open your fingers. Turn your palm upward. Feel the release in your muscles. Your hand is now relaxed, open, and ready to receive. In your mind, see that thing you were holding gently float away like a feather on the breeze. You haven't lost anything essential. What is truly yours can never be lost. You have only created space for something new. As you sit with your palm open, consider what life might place there. Perhaps not immediately, but in time, what blessings or opportunities could land in your open hand. Feel the relief of not having to hold on so tightly. Releasing is not about loss. It is about trust. Trusting that by clearing space, the universe will fill it with what you truly need. When you let go, you free yourself. You step out of the self-made trap, and in that freedom, your life can expand. This is why releasing is receiving. Every time you let go of what no longer serves you, you are really saying yes to something more. Chapter 4. The Illusion of Control. Long ago, a powerful king named Canute grew tired of the endless flattery from his courtiers. They proclaimed that even the oceans would obey his commands. To teach them a lesson, the king had his throne carried to the shore at low tide. As the waves rolled in, Canute raised his hand and ordered the tide to halt. But the ocean did not heed him. The water washed around his feet and continued its relentless advance. In that moment, the king turned to his subjects and said, "Let all men know how empty and worthless is the power of kings. None is worthy of the name, but he whom heaven and earth and sea obey." The king in his wisdom demonstrated the illusion of control. Even a great ruler cannot command the forces of nature. Like King Canute, we too often discover that much of life lies beyond our control. We make our plans, set schedules, and try to manage every detail, only to find that events have a life of their own. A sudden storm ruins the outdoor wedding. A perfectly plotted career path is upended by unexpected opportunity or unexpected loss. A loved one makes choices we cannot change. No matter how tightly we try to grip the reins, life has a way of reminding us that we are not the ultimate authority over external circumstances. This realization can be frightening or liberating, and often both. Frightening because we fear chaos if we're not in control. Liberating because it means we can stop the exhausting task of trying to manage everything. The truth is, absolute control is an illusion. Clinging to that illusion creates anxiety and frustration. How many times have you suffered because something didn't go exactly as you hoped? Perhaps traffic made you late despite your best efforts, or someone you counted on changed their mind. We often take these events personally, as if we failed, when in fact, no one could have guaranteed the outcome. Life is inherently fluid and unpredictable. What can you truly control? Only your own choices, actions, and attitude in this moment. You cannot dictate the rise of the sun, but you can choose to wake early and greet it. You cannot control the weather, but you can choose to dance in the rain or seek shelter. You cannot force others to feel or act a certain way, but you can offer your genuine presence and respond with compassion. Paradoxically, when you release the need to control what you cannot control, you reclaim the power. You do have the power over yourself. Take a moment now to reflect on something in your life that you have been desperately trying to control. Maybe it's the outcome of an event, another person's decision, or the timing of a dream you want to fulfill. Notice the stress and tension that arises when you think about forcing this situation to conform to your will. Now, breathe deeply, and on the exhale, imagine handing the situation over to the universe, as if relinquishing the reins. Acknowledge to yourself, I cannot control everything, and that's okay. Feel the relief that comes with this admission. It doesn't mean you give up caring or acting. It means you accept that the ultimate outcome is not solely in your hands. When you release the illusion of control, you make space for trust, which we will explore in the next chapter. You become like a sailor who adjusts the sails but cannot dictate the wind. You work with what is given, doing your best and then letting the rest unfold. This can bring a profound peace. Instead of fighting the tide, you learn to ride it. In that humility and wisdom, you find strength. By seeing control for the illusion it is, you open yourself to life's greater flow, and surprisingly, life begins to feel much more manageable. After all, you were never meant to control the ocean, only to learn how to swim. Chapter 5. Trust the universe. Letting go becomes much easier when you believe that something greater is at work, carrying you forward. This belief is called trust. To truly surrender, you must trust the universe. Trust that life will support you when you release your grip. It is like a child standing on the edge of a pool, trusting that when she jumps, the water will hold her up, or a loving parent will catch her. Without trust, letting go feels like falling. With trust, letting go feels like floating. Think of how many things in your life operate on trust without you even noticing. You go to sleep each night trusting that your heart will keep beating and your lungs will keep breathing through the dark hours. You plant seeds in a garden trusting that, with sun and rain, they will sprout and grow. You flip a light switch trusting that electricity, invisible and mysterious, will illuminate the room. On a larger scale, you walk through life under a sky you trust will not fall, on ground you trust will not give way. This trust in the basic reliability of life gives you the confidence to carry on each day. Yet, when it comes to our personal dreams and challenges, we often lose that innate trust. We cling and worry as if the whole weight of the world rests on our shoulders alone. What if, instead, you assumed that the universe is conspiring in your favor? What if you believed that when you let go, a net will appear to catch you, or wings will grow to lift you? So much stress would evaporate. There is a deep wisdom in life that we can lean into. You might call it divine order, natural law, or simply the wisdom of the universe. We see it in the turning of seasons, the timing of the stars, the way life regenerates after disasters. This wisdom is at play in your life too. Trusting the universe means believing that outcomes will unfold in the right way in time, even if it's not exactly how or when you expected. It means trusting that sometimes when things don't go according to your plan, they might be going according to a greater plan. Consider a time when you wanted something badly and it didn't happen as you hoped, only to later realize that the outcome was for the best. In hindsight, you might say, "Life knew better than I did." That is the universe's wisdom at work. When you replace your fear with faith, you enter a partnership with life itself. Let's cultivate that trust right now. If you can, close your eyes. Envision yourself lying on your back in a calm, clear lake. Feel the cool water surrounding you. At first, you might tense up, afraid you'll sink, but slowly you stretch out your arms, relax your legs, and surrender your weight to the water. You lean back and float. The water holds you up effortlessly. You realize that you are supported. Feel the relief as you allow yourself to be carried. This is what trusting the universe is like. You do not need to thrash or fight. You will not sink. Something unseen is holding you. Now bring to mind a situation in your life where you are afraid to let go. Imagine releasing your tight hold on it and instead handing it over to the universe, as if placing it gently on the surface of that lake and watching it float. Say to yourself, "I trust that things will work out for the highest good. I am supported." Notice the ease that begins to replace the tension in your heart when you affirm this trust. Trusting the universe does not mean you never act or care. It means that after you have done what you can, you allow life to do the rest. It is an act of faith. And faith is a powerful force that turns anxiety into peace. With trust, you can step into the unknown and find that you're not falling at all, you're flying, carried by the very currents of life that once scared you. As you move forward, remember that every time you let go and trust, the universe has your back. Chapter 6. Flow over force. There is a gentle power in the world that quietly overcomes the fiercest force. An old fable teaches this well. The north wind and the sun once quarreled over which was stronger. To settle it, they agreed on a contest. They spotted a traveler on the road below, wearing a cloak, and decided that whoever could make the traveler remove his cloak was the stronger. The north wind went first. He blew with all his might, sending icy gusts to rip the cloak away. But the harder the wind blew, the tighter the traveler clutched his garment, wrapping it around himself stubbornly. At last the north wind gave up. Then came the sun's turn. The sun simply emerged from behind a cloud and shone warmly upon the land. The air grew gentle and balmy. Before long, the traveler grew warm, loosened his cloak, and eventually took it off of his own accord. The sun had won, not by force, but by warmth and gentle influence. This story reveals a profound truth. Force breeds resistance, while warmth and flow invite cooperation. When you try to force an outcome in life, whether it's pushing a person to do your bidding or straining mightily to make something happen on your timetable, you often meet with opposition. People tighten up, circumstances seem to thwart you at every turn. Like the traveler gripping his cloak, the world responds to aggression with defiance. But when you approach with patience, openness, and steady presence, things tend to unfold with far less friction. Consider water flowing in a river. When it encounters a rock, water doesn't try to smash through the obstacle. It simply glides around it and continues on its way. Over time, the gentle flow of water can even wear down solid rock, not with force, but with persistent softness. In your endeavors, you can choose to be like the water. Instead of attacking barriers head-on and exhausting yourself, you can find the paths of least resistance, the natural openings that allow progress. Flow over force means favoring adaptability over rigidity. It's when you decide to dance with the circumstances rather than fight the music. For example, if a conversation with someone you care about becomes heated, forcing your point harder may only create more tension. But taking a breath, listening, and responding calmly, flowing with the emotional current, can lead to understanding and resolution. In creative work, if one approach isn't yielding results, forcing inspiration rarely works. Stepping back or trying a different angle often allows ideas to stream in naturally. Reflect on an area in your life where you've been using a lot of force. Maybe you've been forcing yourself to stick to a strict plan that no longer feels right, or trying to make someone change before they're ready. How might you approach it differently if you embraced flow instead? Take a moment to imagine that situation in your mind. Now picture yourself as water encountering a boulder. Rather than crashing into the obstacle, see yourself flowing around it. Maybe this means adjusting your timeline, finding an alternative route, or simply easing your expectations. Notice how this change in approach feels. Do you sense less resistance? Now, take a deep breath and allow your body to relax, as if you are the traveler basking in the sun's warmth. On your next exhale, release any excessive push or strain you've been applying in that situation. You might even say softly, "I choose to flow, not force." Let this intention settle over you like sunlight. When you operate in flow, you remain engaged and directed, but you are not white-knuckling the process. You move with intuition and responsiveness, adjusting course as needed. Life's inevitable obstacles become part of the dance rather than roadblocks that frustrate you. Remember the lesson of the north wind and the sun. Your gentle, flowing approach will often accomplish what brute force cannot. In this balance of effort and ease, you'll find that progress comes with much less pain and often with surprising grace. Chapter 7. The Art of Non-Resistance. A wise teaching from the East says, "What you resist persists." In other words, the more you fight against something, the more power you give it to remain in your life. Non-resistance is the art of releasing that fight. It means accepting the present moment as it is, instead of constantly pushing against it. This doesn't mean you approve of every situation or never seek change. It means you stop wasting energy in futile inner opposition to things you cannot change right now. There is a Zen story of a revered master named Hakuin that beautifully demonstrates the power of non-resistance. Hakuin lived in a village and was much respected. One day, a young unmarried woman in the village became pregnant. Pressed by her angry parents to reveal the father's identity, the frightened woman falsely accused Hakuin. The parents, outraged, confronted the master. "Is that so?" Hakuin replied calmly, the only words he would say. When the child was born, the parents brought the infant to Hakuin and demanded he care for the baby since it was his responsibility. The master accepted the baby without resistance, and his reputation in the village was shattered. He lost many students and bore the shame silently, caring tenderly for the child for a year. Eventually, consumed by guilt, the young mother confessed that Hakuin was not the father. The real father was a young man in the fish market. Ashamed, the parents hurried to Hakuin to apologize and ask for the baby back. Hakuin simply said, "Is that so?" as he gently handed the child over. He never scolded the woman or defended himself to the villagers. He had allowed reality to unfold, meeting each moment without resistance. In the end, the truth emerged, and Hakuin remained at peace throughout, unburdened by anger or opposition. Hakuin's story shows the incredible strength in acceptance. By not resisting the false accusation, he suffered externally but kept his inner peace, and ultimately the situation resolved itself. Most of us are not Zen masters, but we can practice non-resistance in small ways each day. For instance, consider how we handle emotions. If you feel anxiety and then resist it, telling yourself, "I shouldn't feel this, go away," the anxiety often intensifies, much like struggling against quicksand only pulls you deeper. But if you acknowledge, "I am anxious. It's okay to feel this way for now," the tight grip of that emotion can loosen. Even physical tension works similarly. Some finger traps, those woven tubes you might have played with as a child, tighten the more you pull your fingers away, resisting the trap. The trick to escape is counterintuitive. You push in slightly, easing the tension, and the trap loosens. By not resisting, you free yourself. What is something you have been resisting in your life? Maybe it's a circumstance like a job you don't love, or a change you fear, or an aspect of yourself you struggle with. Take a moment to bring it to mind. Now, as an experiment, soften your mental stance toward it. You might quietly say to yourself, "Let me allow this for now." Notice any tightness in your body or mind as you think of that issue, and consciously relax around it. You aren't saying it must remain forever. You are simply acknowledging that, at this moment, it is what it is. As you do this, you may feel a slight release of pressure. This is the power of non-resistance beginning to work. Instead of a brick wall of no in your mind, you create an open door of, "Yes, this exists." Through that door, new solutions or understandings can enter. At the very least, you stop adding to your suffering by fighting reality. Non-resistance is a form of surrender to the present moment. It's telling life, "I will flow with what is here," and guide it gently rather than futilely oppose it. With this approach, you conserve your energy for positive action where it's effective, and you cultivate inner peace regardless of external circumstances. The art of non-resistance liberates you from an unwinnable war with life and places you in harmony with it. Often, that's precisely when the circumstances themselves begin to change. Chapter 8. The Magnetic Force of Stillness. In our noisy, busy world, stillness can feel uncomfortable or unproductive, but stillness holds a quiet power, a magnetic force that draws clarity, inspiration, and even opportunities toward you. When you become still, you become like a calm lake in which the truth can reflect, or like a quiet beacon that subtle things gravitate to. Think of a time when you struggled to recall a name or solve a problem. The more frantically you thought, the more elusive the answer became. Then later, perhaps while taking a peaceful walk or relaxing, the name or solution suddenly popped into your mind. This is the magnetic force of stillness at work. In the absence of mental noise, the answer had space to reveal itself. Throughout history, sages and artists alike have tapped into the power of stillness. The mathematician who sits quietly and has a stroke of insight, the musician who finds the perfect melody in the silence between notes, the inventor who dreams the solution after a day of frustration. Stillness is often the common ingredient in breakthroughs. When the mind is quiet, it becomes a receiver for insight and creativity. There's an old metaphor: muddy water will clear if allowed to be still. Imagine a glass of cloudy, silt-filled water. If you keep stirring it, the water stays murky. But set the glass down and wait, and in time the sediment settles to the bottom and the water becomes clear and reflective. Our minds are much the same. When agitated by constant thoughts, worries, and efforts to figure everything out, our clarity is obscured. But if we allow our mind to become still, even for a short while, things start to settle and clear. In that clarity, we can see what we couldn't see before. Stillness also has a magnetic quality in our presence. Have you ever noticed that a person who exudes calm tends to draw others in? Animals, too, are drawn to a calm presence. A skittish bird might land near you if you sit quietly enough. In contrast, frantic or aggressive energy often repels. There is something deeply attractive about a composed, still person. It's as if people and possibilities feel safe to approach you when you have that quiet center. Cultivating stillness doesn't require becoming a hermit or stopping all activity. It is more about inner stillness, a quiet mind, a grounded presence even in the midst of action. You can practice this right now. Sit comfortably and, if you're able, gently close your eyes. Begin by listening to the sounds around you, not chasing them, just noticing. Now shift your attention to the silence beneath the sounds, the quiet background in which all noises come and go. Tune into that silence for a few breaths. Feel your body gradually relax as you do so. Next, bring your awareness to your breathing. Notice the cool air as you inhale and the warm air as you exhale. With each breath out, allow your shoulders, your face, and your belly to soften. Let any racing thoughts slow down, like particles in water settling. If a thought arises, acknowledge it and let it drift by without grabbing onto it. For these few moments, there is nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. Simply be still. As you settle into this stillness, notice what arises. You might feel a sense of peace or hear the whisper of an intuition that was previously drowned out by mental noise. Even if you feel nothing obvious, trust that clarity is forming beneath the surface. When you're ready, open your eyes, if they were closed. Notice how the world looks or feels just a bit clearer or calmer. This is the effect of even a brief period of stillness. Imagine what insight and calm could come from making this a regular practice in your life. In stillness, you become magnetic. Answers come to you. People sense your calm and respond in kind. Opportunities find you prepared and clear-minded. Stillness is not emptiness. It is the fullness of presence without the clutter of constant activity. In that space, life can whisper its secrets to you. Embrace moments of stillness as a sacred time where you realign with yourself and become a beacon for what you seek. Chapter 9. Doing Nothing, Achieving Everything. The idea of doing nothing runs contrary to everything we've been taught about success. Yet, the ancient Taoists spoke of a principle called Wu Wei, which translates roughly to effortless action or actionless action. It is the art of doing by not doing and allowing the natural course of events to unfold. In the words of the Tao Te Ching, by doing nothing, nothing is left undone. This is not an encouragement to laziness, but an invitation to stop overdoing, to cease constant interference, and to let the innate rhythms of life carry some of the load. Think of how nature operates. The sun doesn't rush to rise each morning, it simply rises. Grass doesn't strain to grow, it grows on its own when conditions are right. Seasons turn, birds migrate, hearts beat, all without frantic effort or supervision. There is an inherent harmony and intelligence in these processes. We, too, are part of nature, but we often gum up our own works by overthinking and over-controlling. Have you ever noticed that when you finally take a break after struggling with a task, sometimes the solution presents itself? Or when you go on vacation, the work problem that seemed unsolvable suddenly resolves, either because a fresh idea came to you or events back at the office sorted out in your absence? These are everyday examples of how doing less can accomplish more. Consider an archer aiming at a target. If she tries too hard, over-focusing on her technique, tensing every muscle, her shot is likely to go awry. But if she takes a deep breath, relaxes, and lets her training flow through her without forcing it, she's far more likely to hit the bullseye. In letting go of conscious over-effort, her body and mind synchronize into a state of flow, and the arrow flies true. She achieves her goal by not straining for it. This paradoxical effect can apply in your life. When you have done what you reasonably can toward a goal, further pushing can become counterproductive. It's like pulling on a plant to make it grow faster. You might actually uproot it. Instead, try stepping back and allowing some space. The things you've set in motion can now move toward completion without your constant intervention. Practically, doing nothing can be as simple as a deliberate pause. If you're faced with a dilemma and nothing feels right, rather than forcing a decision, give it a day or two if possible, occupy yourself with unrelated things, or just rest. Often, clarity emerges in the space of waiting. If you're working on a creative project and hit a wall, take a break, do something enjoyable or meditative, and let your subconscious do the work for a while. You might be surprised by the breakthrough that occurs when you're not actively working on the problem. Let's try a brief practice in effortless action. Think of an issue or desire in your life you've been putting a lot of effort into, perhaps to the point of frustration. For a moment, resolve to do nothing about it, truly nothing, just for right now. Imagine setting the issue down, like a bag of heavy groceries, and walking away from it for a time. As you mentally step back, affirm to yourself, I allow this to unfold in its own time. I've done enough for now. Feel the relief in that statement. Now, spend the next few breaths simply being, no planning, no strategizing. If you can, look around and notice something simple and present, like the pattern of light in the room or the sensation of your breath. Remind yourself that life is moving along, even when you are not actively managing it. The currents of the universe are at play. When you later return to your issue or goal, do so refreshed and with a lighter touch. You may find that some part of it has resolved itself, or that you now approach it with new insight and ease. Embracing moments of doing nothing allows the world to support you. It's a way of getting out of your own way. When you step back, you give permission for everything else, other people, natural processes, unseen forces, to step forward and assist. In this dance with life, sometimes your best move is to pause and let life lead. Chapter 10. The Art of Allowing. Imagine standing in a river with a strong current. If you stiffen your body and resist, the water pushes hard against you and you struggle to keep your footing. But if you pick up your feet and allow the current to carry you, you can float and be moved with much less effort. This image captures the essence of the art of allowing. It is about yielding to the supportive currents of life rather than fighting them, about opening yourself to receive rather than endlessly chasing. Allowing is a close cousin to surrender and non-resistance, but it has a more active receptivity. When you allow, you consciously choose to let things happen without interference. You create a welcoming space for your desires to enter. Consider how it feels to be around someone who trusts you versus someone who constantly micromanages you. If you have a boss or a parent who allows you to do things your way, you likely feel more confident and things go smoother. But under someone's tight control, you might tense up and even small tasks become onerous. In a similar way, when you stop micromanaging the universe and instead allow it some freedom to deliver goodness to you in its own way, you remove the friction that once blocked your path. Think of falling asleep at night. You cannot force yourself to sleep. You can only set the stage and allow sleep to come. You dim the lights, get comfortable, close your eyes, and let go of the day. Sleep then gently overtakes you. If you instead try to will yourself to sleep, I must sleep now, you only become more alert and frustrated. Many things in life behave like sleep. They arrive when invited and allowed, not when wrestled to the ground. Another example is inspiration or love. You cannot command inspiration to strike at will. You allow it by relaxing your mind, perhaps by taking a walk or listening to music, giving it space to appear. Similarly, you can't force someone to love you through pressure. Love blossoms in the open space of acceptance and genuine presence. In all these cases, allowing creates the conditions for your desires to manifest naturally. Ask yourself, am I allowing or am I obstructing? Sometimes we obstruct without realizing it. We might set a goal, but then we drown it in doubt, worry, or an insistence that it must happen in a very specific way. That's like planting a seed and then covering it with a slab of concrete. The poor thing has no room to sprout. Allowing is removing the concrete and trusting the seed to grow, maybe watering it and then giving it sunshine and time. Let's practice the art of allowing in a small way. Bring to mind something you desire. It could be something material, a relationship, a solution to a problem, or a personal change. Notice any tension or clinging in your body or mind when you think about it. Now, take a slow breath, and as you exhale, imagine releasing that tension. Say to yourself, I allow this or something better to come into my life. I am open and I am listening. Feel the difference. Instead of, I need this to happen, it becomes, I welcome this if and when it comes. See yourself opening a door or spreading your arms open to the sky, inviting whatever goodness life has in store. Allowing is not about passive waiting in despair. It's an active stance of openness and faith. It means you've set your intention, planted your seed, and now you let the universe do its part. Let the seed grow. You stay engaged and ready to act on opportunities, but you don't force or fret them into being. You cultivate a mindset of receiving. When you practice allowing, you may find that things start to flow more easily. The right people, ideas, or opportunities appear seemingly out of nowhere. Sometimes what arrives isn't exactly what you pictured, but often it's something that serves your true desires even more. By mastering the art of allowing, you remove the inner roadblocks and open the floodgates for life to deliver its gifts to your doorstep. Chapter 11. Holding lightly. The power of non-attachment. There's a subtle art in life, caring deeply without clinging tightly. This is the essence of non-attachment. It means fully engaging with love, with goals, with experiences, but holding them lightly, the way you might hold a delicate bird in your hand, gently enough not to harm or frighten it, and loosely enough that, should it choose to fly away, it can do so without tearing your heart apart. Attachment is often born from fear of losing, fear of lack. We cling to people, things, and outcomes because we believe we need them to be happy. But paradoxically, the tighter we hold, the more pain we create. In Buddhist philosophy, attachment is seen as a root of suffering because all things in life are impermanent. No matter how tightly we cling, change is inevitable. Non-attachment, on the other hand, invites us to experience life fully without the chains of need and fear. When you are non-attached, you can love and enjoy with an open hand and an open heart. If the object of your attachment changes or leaves, you may feel sadness, but you won't be destroyed by it, because you never gripped it as your sole source of fulfillment. A Zen story illustrates this with a simple object. A monk once held up a beautiful porcelain cup and said, I cherish this cup. It holds my water admirably and glitters in the sunlight. I take care of it and enjoy it. But I also consider this cup is already broken. So, when it falls and shatters, I won't be devastated. I will simply acknowledge that it has reached the end of its form, and I will be glad I knew its beauty for a time. The monk's acceptance that the cup is already broken is a practice of non-attachment. It doesn't mean he handles the cup carelessly. In fact, he likely handles it with even more appreciation, but he is prepared to let it go when its time is up. You can apply this wisdom to many areas of life. Consider a relationship. Holding it lightly means you love the person fully and kindly, but you do not base your entire worth or future on them never changing or never leaving. You allow them freedom, and you trust that if you two are meant to be, the bond will continue. If life takes you in different directions, the love can remain in a transformed way, and you trust you will be okay. Or think of a job or goal. You work at it passionately, but if it doesn't go exactly as planned, you adapt without falling apart, because you were not rigidly attached to one outcome. Non-attachment is not indifference. On the contrary, you might find you become more present and compassionate when you practice it, because you're no longer consumed by your anxieties of holding on or your dread of loss. You can experience the moment more richly because you're not projecting into a feared future or clinging to a past that's slipping away. To explore non-attachment, try this reflection. Identify something you are very attached to right now. It could be an item, a relationship, a title or status, or even an idea of how your life should unfold. Notice how you feel in your body when you contemplate it. Perhaps there's tightness or anxiety at the thought of losing it. Now imagine yourself loosening your grip on this thing, just a little. If it's an object, imagine setting it down gently. If it's a person or status, imagine releasing your hold on that identity or outcome. You aren't throwing it away. You're simply allowing some space. Tell yourself, It's okay if this stays, and it's okay if this goes. I will be fine either way. Breathe and feel what that thought does inside you. There might be fear at first, but also see if there's a slight sense of relief or lightness. By holding things lightly, you begin to replace fear with trust. Trust in yourself that you can handle change, and trust in life that letting go of one thing can make room for something else. You might even find that the things and people you love stay in your life longer and in healthier ways when they are free rather than smothered by attachment. And when they do pass away or move on, you can grieve naturally, but not be utterly broken. Practice non-attachment in small ways daily. Savor your meal, but don't fret when the last bite is gone. Enjoy a beautiful sunset, knowing it will fade, and that's what makes it precious. By holding lightly, you paradoxically deepen your experience of life because every moment is appreciated for itself, not as a possession, and you remain free and peaceful no matter how the external forms may change. Chapter 12. Let go of who you think you are. From the day we are born, we start collecting labels and identities. We learn our name, our roles, our traits, smart or not, shy or bold, worthy or unwanted, and over time, these ideas solidify into a concept of who I am. This identity can become a cage of our own making. We often cling to who we think we are because it feels safe and familiar, even if it limits us. But the truth is, you are not a static label or a past story. To grow into your fullest self, you must be willing to let go of the old versions of you that no longer serve. Consider the transformation of a caterpillar into a butterfly. The caterpillar might be content inching along a branch thinking, "This is who I am." But when the time comes, it instinctively builds a cocoon, and astonishingly, it dissolves inside. In that chrysalis, the caterpillar completely releases its former form, quite literally letting go of being a caterpillar. And from that surrender, a new creature emerges. The butterfly has wings to fly, a perspective and freedom the caterpillar could never imagine. Yet to achieve this, the caterpillar had to relinquish its old identity. We too go through many cocoons and rebirths in our lives, if we allow ourselves. Perhaps you have identified strongly with a career, a relationship, or a role, such as being the responsible one or the helper in your family. These identities can give structure, but they can also confine us. For example, if you tell yourself, "I'm a timid person," you might avoid opportunities that could actually bring you joy and confidence. Or if you cling to, "I'm a high achiever," you might struggle to relax or accept any mistakes, fearing it shatters your image. Ask yourself, which aspects of who I think I am might be holding me back? Are there old stories of failure or pain that you keep identifying with? "I'm someone who always gets hurt," or "I'm not creative," or perhaps positive labels that have become burdens. "I always have to be the strong one." Recognize that these are just stories. They are not the entirety of you. Letting go of who you think you are means opening to who you could be beyond those stories. It's a process of shedding skins. In some spiritual traditions, this is called releasing the ego or the false self, not destroying your personality, but peeling back the layers to reveal a more authentic, limitless core. Let's try a visualization to explore this. Close your eyes if you can. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. See your reflection, and along with your face and body, notice that you are wearing layers of clothing. Each layer represents a label or identity you have assumed. Perhaps one layer is labeled with your job title, another with roles like parent or friend. Other layers might have words like always nice, afraid of X, not good enough, the funny one, the troubled one, or whatever resonates for you. Some layers may be identities given by others, some by yourself. Now, in your mind, choose one layer that feels heavy or constricting, one aspect of who you think you are that you suspect isn't serving your growth. Visualize gently removing that layer of clothing. Peel it off and set it aside. Notice how you feel with it off. Lighter, freer around the shoulders or heart perhaps. You have not lost yourself. You have only removed something that was covering you. Underneath, you are still you. In fact, even more you, without that extra weight. You can continue with more layers if you wish, removing anything that feels like a false mask or an old story. Perhaps the layer of "I must always be perfect," or "I'm broken," or I'm unlovable, or even I'm superior. With each removal, you stand more authentically, shining without pretense or limitation. Now, see your reflection again. What remains is a presence, alive and open, not defined rigidly by the past. You might not have a neat label for this self, and that is good. It means you are open to evolving. You can step away from the mirror now in your mind, leaving those old garments of identity behind, and step forward feeling lighter. As you open your eyes, or simply come back to the room if they were open, carry the understanding that you are a dynamic, evolving being. You do not have to be tomorrow who you were yesterday. When you let go of who you think you are, you make room to discover who you really are, a self that is far more expansive, creative, and powerful than any limited story. Like the butterfly emerging from the chrysalis, you may find that surrendering the old self allows you to soar in ways the old self never could. Chapter 13. Letting go of the past. The past can be like a heavy sack of stones we drag behind us. Each stone is a memory, some pleasant, but many heavy with regrets, hurts, or what-ifs. Carrying these stones everywhere we go, we tire our spirit and cloud our ability to experience the present fully. Letting go of the past is about setting down that burden of yesterday, so that today and tomorrow can be met with open arms and a lighter heart. There's a famous Zen parable about this. Two monks, one old and one young, were traveling together and came to a river with a strong current. On the bank, a young woman stood, afraid to cross alone. Despite a strict rule forbidding monks from touching women, the older monk gently offered to carry her across. On the other side, he set her down and she went on her way with thanks. The younger monk said nothing, but as the two monks continued their journey, he brooded. Hours passed, and the younger monk's silence turned to indignation. Finally, unable to hold it in, he blurted out, "How could you carry that woman? We monks are not supposed to touch females." The older monk smiled and replied, "Brother, I set her down on the riverbank hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" The younger monk realized that he had been carrying the incident in his mind far longer than the older monk had carried the woman. He had been dragging the weight of that moment well past its usefulness. We often do the same with our past. Someone may have hurt us once, but we replay it for years, carrying the pain anew each time. We hold on to guilt about a mistake long after we've learned its lesson. We might even cling to past victories or joys in a way that stops us from finding new ones, constantly comparing the present to the good old days. Letting go of the past doesn't mean forgetting or erasing your memories. It means releasing the hold those memories have on you, especially the negative ones. It means forgiving others and yourself for old wrongs, not for their sake necessarily, but to free your own heart. As one saying goes, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it. You are the one who gets burned. Consider if you are holding on to a past event or feeling that is weighing you down. Is there someone you haven't forgiven? A version of yourself from years ago you haven't forgiven? Perhaps a choice you keep second-guessing. If only I had done this instead. Acknowledge it now. Feel the weight of that memory or regret in you. Maybe it's like a stone in your chest or a knot in your stomach. Now, imagine that weight as a physical object, a heavy backpack filled with stones from the past. Each stone has a label: betrayal by X, my mistake at Y, the time I failed at Z, what I lost in 20, and so on. You've been carrying this sack a long time. Are you willing to set it down? In your mind's eye, see yourself removing the backpack. Feel its straps sliding off your shoulders. With a deep exhale, lower it to the ground. You might even say, "I'm not carrying this anymore." Notice how much lighter you feel standing without it. Maybe your back straightens, your stride becomes easier. If some part of you hesitates, sometimes we worry that letting go means we condone what happened or that we'll forget what we learned. Remember that you can keep the lessons and love while discarding the pain. The old monk did not regret helping the woman. He simply didn't carry the incident beyond its moment. You too can remember your past without reliving its pain or letting it define your present. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, let a feeling of forgiveness and release wash over you. Forgive yourself for being human and imperfect. Forgive those who hurt you, not to excuse them, but to liberate yourself. See the heavy stones dissolve or sink into the earth, out of your awareness. When you let go of the past, you reclaim the energy it was siphoning from your life. That energy becomes available now for creativity, for joy, for building new experiences. The present moment is here like a gift, but you need free hands to open it. By setting down the burden of the past, your hands and heart are free. The road ahead, unencumbered by yesterday's weight, feels open and full of possibility. Chapter 14. Presence over pursuit. We live much of our lives in pursuit, chasing the next goal, the next high, the next chapter of our story. While planning and striving have their place, they can easily pull us out of the only place life truly exists, the present moment. Presence means fully inhabiting now, whereas pursuit often casts our attention into the future. When we prioritize presence over constant pursuit, we discover a profound truth. Much of what we seek is already here with us, in this moment, if we only pause and notice. There's a story about a fisherman who lived a simple life in a small village. Each morning he would catch a few fish, just enough to support his family, and then spend the afternoon playing with his children and relaxing with friends. A businessman visiting the village saw the fisherman and said, "Why don't you catch more fish?" The fisherman asked. "What would I do with them?" "You could sell them for a profit," the businessman said. "Then buy a bigger boat, catch even more fish, open a company, and become wealthy." The fisherman asked. "And then what?" The businessman replied. "Then you could retire, move to a quiet village, spend your days fishing a little, playing with your grandkids, and relaxing." The fisherman smiled and said, "Isn't that what I'm doing now?" This parable highlights how easy it is to get caught in endless pursuit and lose sight of the present gifts. The fisherman chose presence. He recognized that the joy and contentment so many chase after were already available to him without a complicated chase. Consider your own life. Have you been delaying your happiness or peace, telling yourself, "I'll be happy when X happens," or "I just need to achieve Y, then I can relax"? Pursuit puts conditions on your contentment and postpones living. Presence invites you to live now, to find what is good and meaningful right here. Presence doesn't mean you abandon all goals. It means you don't sacrifice the current moment's richness for an imagined future. Ironically, when you are fully present, you often perform better at your tasks and make wiser decisions about the future because you're grounded and clear, not anxious and scattered. Let's practice stepping into presence, right here and now. Wherever you are, pause for a moment. Take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, let your shoulders drop. Look around you. Notice 3 things you can see: the colors, shapes, light, and shadow. Now notice 3 things you can hear. Perhaps the hum of a refrigerator, the distant sound of traffic or birds, the softness of your own breathing. Next, notice 3 things you can feel: the texture of your clothing on your skin, the temperature of the air on your face, the weight of your body on the chair or floor. As you do this, you are bringing your mind fully into the present space and time. If you were worrying about the future or replaying the past a moment ago, you might notice that those thoughts have quieted. You've given your mind a focus on now. In this now, ask yourself, in this very moment, am I basically okay? Not in 5 minutes, not tomorrow, but now. Most likely, you find that in this moment you have what you need. You are breathing, your heart is beating, you have the ground under you. Maybe you even notice simple pleasures: a ray of sunlight, a comfortable silence, the taste of tea still on your tongue from earlier. This is life, here and now. When you cultivate presence, you begin to experience a deep sense of enoughness. The present moment, imperfect as it may be, has a texture of completeness. From this place of presence, you can still pursue goals, but you do so without the desperate energy of lack. You chase less because you realize much of what you truly wanted. Peace, aliveness, connection is already available in the now. Try adopting a daily practice. Set an intention to return to the present moment periodically throughout your day. You might use everyday cues, like every time you wash your hands or hear a notification ping, as a reminder to take one conscious breath and reground yourself in the here and now. Over time, presence can become your default mode. By choosing presence over perpetual pursuit, you step out of the hamster wheel of never enough and into the sunlight of what is. Life becomes more vivid and gentle at once. you find that the joy and peace you were running after have been quietly waiting for you to slow down and embrace them. In the grand paradox of the reversal code, sometimes you win the race by stopping and simply being where you are. Chapter 15. Embrace uncertainty. Human beings are wired to seek certainty. We want to know what's coming next, to have clear answers and predictable outcomes. Yet, life is inherently uncertain. The future is a vast unknown, and trying to pin it down is like trying to capture the wind. Embracing uncertainty means making peace with the unknown and even finding excitement in it. When you stop resisting not knowing, you free yourself from a great deal of anxiety and open yourself to surprising blessings. There's a well-known Taoist parable about a farmer who understood the wisdom of uncertainty. According to the story, the farmer had one horse, which he used to till his fields. One day, the horse broke through the gate and ran away. His neighbors came to commiserate. "What bad luck that your horse escaped." The farmer shrugged and said, "Maybe so, maybe not." A few days later, the runaway horse returned, bringing with it a small herd of wild horses. The farmer and his son corralled them. Now the neighbors came to celebrate. "What great luck! Now you have many horses." The farmer again simply said, "Maybe so, maybe not." The farmer's son began to train one of the wild horses, but the very next week he was thrown from the horse and broke his leg badly. The neighbors offered sympathy. "How unfortunate." The farmer? You guessed it. Maybe so, maybe not. While the son was recovering, the army came through the villages, conscripting every able-bodied young man to go to war. Because of his injury, the farmer's son was not taken. The neighbors, now in awe of the farmer's luck, said, "How fortunate that your son was spared." And the farmer smiled gently and said only, "Maybe so, maybe not." This story beautifully illustrates that we often cannot tell, in the moment, whether an event is good or bad, because life is a complex tapestry still being woven. What looks like a setback might be setting the stage for a wonderful opportunity, and vice versa. By embracing uncertainty, we allow life to unfold without the constant judgment of every twist and turn. We remain balanced, like the farmer, riding the waves of change with a calm heart. Think about your own life. Can you recall a time when something unexpected happened that initially seemed negative, but later you realized it was a blessing in disguise? Or a time you feared the worst and instead something good came? These experiences show that uncertainty is not always an enemy. Often it's the source of life's most meaningful adventures and lessons. When we fear uncertainty, we contract our energy, trying to guard against every possible outcome. This can lead to constant stress and a narrow life. But when we embrace uncertainty, we relax our need to control and we cultivate trust in the larger process. We become like a surfer riding the ocean. We can't control the waves, but we can learn to flow with them, even enjoy their wildness. How can you start embracing uncertainty? One way is to transform your anxiety into curiosity. The next time you face an unknown situation, say you're awaiting news about a job, or embarking on a move, or even just unsure how a conversation will go, notice any anxious thoughts about what if it all goes wrong, and gently shift them. Deliberately ask yourself, what if something amazing happens that I can't foresee? Or, I wonder what interesting things this situation could bring. You aren't predicting specifics, you're just opening to possibilities beyond your fears. This turns the unknown from a feared void into a space of potential. Let's practice a short reflection. Bring to mind an area of your life right now that feels uncertain. Perhaps your career, a relationship status, health results, or the state of the world. As you think of it, notice if you feel tightness or worry. Now, take a deep breath, and as you exhale, say silently or aloud, "I don't know what will happen," and that's okay. Feel the release in admitting that you do not have to solve the future right now. On your next inhale, imagine breathing in a sense of curiosity and trust. You might say, "I am open to good surprises," or "I allow life to guide me in this." You can even smile a little, as if welcoming a friend at the door. Welcome the unknown as an old friend who might have gifts in hand. Embracing uncertainty is a practice. Fears will still arise, but you can meet them with the wisdom of maybe so, maybe not, and the understanding that time will reveal the meaning of events. In the meantime, You choose to live fully, without bracing against every change. This gives you resilience. When life throws a curveball, you may still feel startled or upset, but a part of you remembers to say, "Let's see what this brings." Knowing that every closed door leads to somewhere new, and every storm eventually waters new growth. By embracing uncertainty, you step into a dance with life, fluid and fearless, trusting that even in the unknown, you are ultimately okay. Chapter 16. The Whisper Within. Deep inside you, beneath the chatter of the mind, there is a quiet voice, a whisper of wisdom that often knows the way. Some call it intuition, inner guidance, or the voice of the heart. It speaks not in words but in feelings, impressions, and subtle knowing. When you are constantly striving and thinking, it's easy to overlook this whisper. But in moments of surrender and stillness, the whisper within can become clear, offering guidance that logic alone might miss. Perhaps you've experienced a gut feeling or a hunch that proved correct. Maybe you had a strong sense not to trust a seemingly friendly person and later discovered your instincts were right. Or you felt a nudge to take an unexpected opportunity and it led to great things. Such moments are signs of your inner wisdom at work. Intuition often defies linear reasoning. It's the product of your subconscious mind processing information and your deeper connection with the flow of life. When you are aligned, energetically, calm, present, and open, you become more attuned to these subtle signals. It's like tuning a radio from static to a clear station. The signal was always there, but now you can hear it. The practice of letting go enhances your intuition. By releasing fear and mental overdrive, you clear the static of anxiety and overanalysis. Then the gentle voice of intuition can come through. This isn't magic. It's a natural faculty we all have. Think of animals who sense danger or find their way intuitively. We share that capability, but our busy minds often drown it out. To connect with your inner guidance, it helps to be in a receptive state. Meditation, time in nature, or even a quiet moment with a cup of tea can set the stage. Pay attention to your body and emotions. Intuition often speaks through a feeling of ease or unease in your chest or gut. You might experience it as a sudden clarity or a persistent, subtle urge. Let's try a brief exercise to tap into your intuition. Think of a question or a decision that's on your mind. Something not too emotionally charged to start. Maybe a simple choice like whether to accept a certain invitation this weekend or which project to tackle first today. Close your eyes and take a few calming breaths. Now, imagine option A, for example, going to the event. Place yourself in that scenario briefly. See it and feel it as if you're already doing it. Notice your body's sensations and your inner mood. Do you feel tightness, heaviness, lightness, relief, excitement, dread? Now release that option. Take another breath to clear. Next, imagine option B, not going to the event or choosing the other project. Again, fully picture it and sense your body's response. Compare the feelings between the two. Often, one will feel a bit more expansive or peaceful. That's your inner compass pointing toward the option aligned with you. The other might carry a slight sense of contraction or stress. This exercise can be applied to more significant decisions too, though with very high-stakes issues, our fears can sometimes mask intuition. Even then, with practice, you'll get better at distinguishing the calm voice of intuition from the agitated voice of fear or desire. Keep in mind that intuition doesn't guarantee a problem-free path, but it often guides you toward the experiences your soul needs or the choices that resonate with your true self. When you follow that inner whisper, you may find synchronicities happen, like doors opening at the right time or meeting the right people, which further confirms you're in flow. To strengthen your connection with your inner voice, make space for it regularly. Spend a few minutes each day in silence or journaling whatever impressions come. Treat your intuition like a friend whose advice you value. Check in with it and show that you're listening. Over time, the whisper may become more of a confident voice. By honoring the whisper within, you align with a guidance system that is uniquely yours. It's as if you carry a compass that often points you toward your true north. Combine this intuition with reason, and you'll navigate life with both wisdom and practicality. But when the road ahead is dim and logic falls short, you'll know you can trust that quiet inner knowing to light your way. It's yet another aspect of letting go. Letting go of overthinking and trusting yourself, the deeper, wiser self that has been with you all along. Chapter 17. Inspired Action. When doing flows from being. Up to now, we've spoken a great deal about letting go, being still, and allowing. One might wonder, does this mean we should never act, never strive? Not at all. Action has its place, but there's a world of difference between forced action born of desperation and inspired action that flows naturally from your state of being. Inspired action is like a breeze at your back, propelling you forward with ease and joy, whereas forced action feels like a headwind you struggle against. When you align your being through presence, surrender, and trust, the doing that follows tends to be exactly what's needed, and it often feels almost effortless. Think of times in your life when you were in the zone. Perhaps you were working on a project you were passionate about, and hours flew by without you noticing. Or you had a sudden impulse to call a friend, and that conversation turned out to be profoundly meaningful. These are instances of inspired action. You weren't overthinking or pushing yourself reluctantly. The motivation bubbled up from within, and the actions felt right and natural. In contrast, consider times when you forced yourself to do something purely out of obligation or panic. Maybe you ground through a task when exhausted, only to find you made errors that you had to fix later. Or you tried to make a relationship issue better by doing a grand gesture that backfired because it wasn't coming from a genuine place. Forced actions often feel heavy, and their outcomes can be shaky, requiring more and more effort to sustain. Inspired action often arises after we've done the inner work of letting go. Once you've surrendered your frantic need for a solution, suddenly you get a clear idea of what to do. It's as if the answer was waiting for you to be calm enough to receive it. By first being present, being aligned, being receptive, you create the ideal conditions for wise doing. There is a term, right action, in some Eastern philosophies, implying an action that is in harmony with the flow of life and ethical at the same time. Inspired action is similar. It feels guided by a larger intelligence or by your higher self. It often comes with a sense of enthusiasm or at least clarity. You might not even be able to explain logically why you feel drawn to do a certain thing, but it just feels correct. To nurture inspired action, it's helpful to pause before acting, especially on big decisions. Instead of immediately reacting out of anxiety or impatience, you allow a moment, or as long as needed, for the right response to emerge. After aligning yourself, perhaps through a few deep breaths, a short walk, or a quiet meditation, check in with your intuition, that whisper within we discussed, and see what arises. For instance, if you're considering a career change but feel unsure, rather than sending out dozens of frantic job applications to any opening, forced action fueled by fear, you might spend time clarifying what you truly want, letting go of the fear of nothing else coming. When you reach a calm clarity, you might suddenly feel, today is the day to call that acquaintance in the field I'm interested in, or you find yourself redesigning your resume with unexpected creativity and focus. These actions flow from your being ready and are likely to be more effective. Let's reflect on the difference now. Recall one situation in your life where you took action out of stress or compulsion. How did it feel in your body at the time? What was the result? Now recall a situation where you acted from a place of inspiration or inner certainty. How did that feel, and what were the outcomes? Notice the contrast. The goal is to invite more of the latter into your life. To invite inspired action, practice this simple approach. Pause, align, then act. Even in your daily routine, before sending that important email, before a tough conversation, before starting your day's work, take a brief pause. Get centered. A few breaths, a recall of your intention, why it matters. Maybe a moment of gratitude. In that pause, you align with your deeper self. Then proceed to act. You may notice your actions become more efficient, effective, and true to what you actually want to accomplish. When doing flows from being, work feels like play, or at least it feels meaningful. You tap into a current of energy that is much larger than your individual willpower. It's like catching a wave in the ocean. Once you're on it, the wave does the carrying. In life, Once you're aligned, inspiration carries you. That doesn't mean you won't put in effort. The surfer still balances and adjusts, but the effort no longer feels like a struggle. It's part of a joyful process. As you move forward in applying the reversal code to your life, remember that letting go and allowing are not about inaction. They are about wise action. You let go of the futile, frantic actions so that your energy is available for the truly potent actions that arise from your core. In this way, you become both peaceful and productive, relaxed and effective, a living embodiment of flow over force. Chapter 18. Grateful and Free. Gratitude is a powerful state of being that aligns you with abundance and ease. When you are truly grateful, you are acknowledging the goodness in your life and affirming that you have, in this moment, enough. This feeling of enoughness is the antidote to the endless chase for more. In gratitude, you naturally let go of grasping and craving because your heart is content. In that contentment, you experience a profound sense of freedom. It's hard to overstate how transformative gratitude can be. Imagine two people. One wakes up and immediately starts thinking about everything that's wrong. The bills to pay, the aches in their body, the goals not yet achieved. They begin the day feeling behind and lacking. The other person wakes up and, even if facing challenges, consciously remembers things to be thankful for. A good friend, a roof over their head, the fact they're alive to see another sunrise. They start the day with a sense of blessing. Which person will move through their day with more openness, confidence, and peace? Likely the grateful one. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means also seeing the gifts and opportunities that life presents. It shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. And as many spiritual traditions and even modern psychology affirm, what you focus on grows. By focusing on what you have and appreciating it, you invite more positive things into your life, or at least you notice more of the goodness that's already present. When you practice gratitude, you release the hold of envy and comparison. It's hard to be desperately jealous of someone else's life when you're busy being thankful for your own. Gratitude is a form of surrender, too, surrendering the idea that something is missing right now. Instead, you embrace the fullness of now. Paradoxically, this often paves the way for more blessings to flow to you because you're not energetically pushing them away with feelings of lack. Let's engage with gratitude directly. Take a moment to call to mind 3 things you feel thankful for in this moment. They can be simple. Perhaps the comfort of the chair you're sitting on, the fact that you have the leisure to listen to these words, or a person in your life who cares about you. If bigger joys come to mind, include those too. Maybe a recent success or a happy memory. Now for each of these, silently say thank you, and allow yourself to feel the appreciation in your heart. For example, thank you for this warm cup of coffee in my hands. Thank you for my friend who called yesterday. Thank you for my healthy breath right now. As you say thank you, breathe in and imagine your heart swelling with warmth. Breathe out and let a gentle smile form if it feels natural. Notice how this simple practice slightly shifts your mood or energy. Many people feel a sense of relief or a lighter perspective, as if they've momentarily put down a heavy load they were carrying. That is the freedom gratitude provides. In those moments of gratitude, you are not wanting, you are not fearing, you are simply in a state of gladness for what is. When you cultivate an attitude of gratitude consistently, it becomes a lens through which you view the world. Challenges become easier to bear because you can find their silver linings or remember that not everything is dark. Opportunities are easier to seize because you recognize them as gifts. You also become a magnet for positivity. Others feel uplifted in your presence because gratitude tends to radiate kindness and generosity. Gratitude is something you can practice anytime. In the morning or before bed, you might mentally list or journal a few things you're thankful for. When you catch yourself dwelling on what's lacking, you can gently pivot. All right, that's something I want to improve, but what can I appreciate right now? It's not about denying difficulties, but about enriching your perspective. As you make gratitude a habit, you'll likely notice a decrease in anxiety and an increase in peace. After all, If you're regularly noting how life is supporting you, then when faced with uncertainty, you have a reservoir of trust to draw from. Evidence that, come what may, there are blessings to be found. In this way, gratitude reinforces everything we've discussed. It helps you surrender because you trust you'll be provided for. It aligns your energy with abundance, thus helping manifestation, and it keeps you present because you're acknowledging this moment's gifts. Being grateful and free means your happiness is less bound to external changes. Yes, you'll still have goals and desires, but they won't own you. You're free because your joy is rooted in the here and now, in the simple miracle of existence and the gifts that each day brings. Carry this freedom with you by carrying gratitude in your heart, and watch as reality responds by giving you even more reasons to say thank you. Chapter 19. Set it and forget it. One of the most powerful applications of the principles we've been discussing is in the realm of manifesting your desires. There's a popular phrase, set it and forget it. It captures the essence of what we've learned. You clarify what you want, set it, and then you let go of obsessing over it, forget it, so the universe can work on your behalf. This approach aligns perfectly with the reversal code. You give up constant chasing and instead plant a seed, then allow it to grow in its own time. Think of a farmer planting seeds in the soil. She prepares the ground, carefully places the seed, covers it, and waters it. Then, she doesn't dig it up every day to check if it's sprouting. She sets it and forgets it, not truly forgetting, but she trusts the process. She might water it regularly and make sure the conditions are right, but she isn't tugging at the seed to make it grow faster. In fact, if she did, she'd likely kill the fragile sprout. Instead, she carries on with faith that beneath the surface the seed is germinating. And sure enough, in due time, a green shoot appears. In life, setting it and forgetting it looks like this. You decide clearly what you intend or desire. You might visualize it, pray for it, or write it down. Whatever method resonates with you to set the intention firmly. Then you stop worrying about it. You release the constant thoughts of, when will it happen? How will it happen? What if it doesn't happen? You move forward, tending to the present moment, like the farmer tending other chores, trusting that your intention is making its way toward you. This isn't always easy. Our minds love to fixate on what we want, especially if it's important to us. But remember the earlier chapters. Chasing and clinging can energetically push away what you desire. Forgetting it doesn't mean you no longer care. It means you give your wish some breathing room. It's an act of trust. Let's do a practical exercise in setting and forgetting. Think of one heartfelt desire you have. It could be about your career, a relationship, health, or any goal. Now, set it clearly. In your mind or on paper, state what you intend to manifest. For instance, I intend to find a fulfilling job where I am valued and can grow. Or, I intend to heal and feel strong and healthy. Or, I intend to attract a loving, supportive partner. Make it positive and concise. If you're comfortable, close your eyes and imagine this desire as if it has already come true. See yourself in that new job, or healthy and vibrant, or enjoying life with that partner. Feel the happiness and gratitude of it. Take a few moments to really experience the vision. Now, let's forget it, meaning, let's hand it over. Visualize placing that mental image or written intention into a balloon or a paper boat. See yourself releasing it. The balloon floats up into the sky, or the boat sails down a stream. As it departs, say to yourself, I release this intention. I trust it will come to me in the right way and at the right time. Feel the release, like exhaling after holding your breath. You might even shrug your shoulders or turn your attention to something else in the room to symbolize that you're not going to hover over the intention anymore. In the days and weeks after this, whenever the thought of your desire comes up, practice this forgetting technique. Remind yourself, I've planted that seed. If anxiety or impatience creeps in, take a deep breath and imagine sending your desire off into the sky again. Then, crucially, engage with what's in front of you. Enjoy your day, work on your skills, follow your joy, be of service. live your life. This positive action and presence is like watering the rest of your garden while your seed is growing. People often report that as soon as they truly let go of a desperate longing, their desire shows up unexpectedly. A phone call, a chance meeting, a sudden opportunity, things move when we stop standing in the way. Even if it doesn't happen immediately, you'll likely feel better, less stressed, and more open. During the waiting period, which actually might not feel like waiting at all because you're busy living fully. Set it and forget it is a balance of intention and surrender. You co-create with the universe. You do your part by knowing what you want, and the universe does its part by arranging the details. Maintain a gentle faith that what is yours will come to you. And remember, sometimes what arrives may look a little different than you imagined, but if you've released rigid control, it could be even better suited to your deepest needs. By setting your intention and then letting it go, you demonstrate ultimate trust in the flow of life. You are saying, I know what I want, and I'm confident enough to not grip it tightly. I'm allowing life to assist me. This trust is often rewarded in beautiful ways. So plant your dreams, and then let the wind carry them. They know the way home to you. Chapter 20. The Ease of Being. In a world fixated on achievement and self-improvement, we often forget the simple joy of being. We become so used to evaluating ourselves, am I doing enough? Am I good enough? That we rarely allow ourselves to just exist without judgment or the pressure to change. Yet one of the deepest freedoms comes from embracing the ease of being, from knowing that right now, in this moment, you are enough. You are a human being, not just a human doing. Your worth is not solely determined by your productivity, your success, or how hard you hustle. There is an inherent value in you simply because you are a living, breathing soul. When you truly take that in, you release a tremendous burden, the need to constantly prove yourself or earn your right to relax and be happy. Instead, happiness can arise naturally as a state of being rather than a reward for doing. This doesn't mean you won't grow or pursue goals. Growth will happen on its own as life flows, but it means you stop fighting yourself every step of the way. You can aspire from a place of peace instead of self-criticism. Think of a flower. It doesn't strain to become what it's meant to be. It simply unfolds in the sunlight. You too have an inner nature that knows how to unfold if you create the right conditions of acceptance and presence. Sometimes we carry an inner voice that always says, not enough, not yet. We think, I'll be happy when I lose those extra pounds, or when I get that promotion, or when I overcome this habit. While growth is wonderful, tying your fundamental okayness to some future outcome means you'll never truly rest. Once one target is hit, the inner critic often finds another. The practice of the ease of being invites you to radically accept yourself as you are right now, even as you may continue to evolve. Try this experiment in self-acceptance. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, let go of any roles you're holding on to tightly, such as being the perfect parent, the ideal employee, the always strong friend. For a moment, just be. You might say to yourself, in this moment, there is nothing I have to do and no one I have to be. I allow myself to just exist. Notice any tension in your body and allow it to soften, as if you're coming home to a safe space where no performance is required. If it feels strange, consider how you view a dear friend or a pet. You likely love them for who they are, not for what they achieve. Offer that same unconditional friendly regard to yourself. You might place a hand on your heart and gently affirm, I am enough. It's okay to just be. I am worthy of love and peace right now. As you embrace your own being, you may find a natural ease emerging. Tasks might even become lighter, because you're not tying your self-worth to them. You can enjoy work or activities for their own sake without the weight of feeling that your entire value is on the line. Paradoxically, people often become more effective and creative when they operate from a state of self-acceptance and inner ease, because fear of failure or need for validation no longer paralyzes them. Living with the ease of being also means savoring life more. Instead of always rushing to the next thing, you give yourself permission to pause and simply experience. Perhaps you linger a bit longer over morning tea, truly tasting it. Or you sit outside for a few minutes in the afternoon, doing nothing in particular, just feeling the breeze. These are not wasted moments. They are life itself. In these moments, notice how your heart feels. Often, a sense of contentment or quiet joy bubbles up, the kind that isn't dependent on any external achievement. That's the gift of being, contentment in the here and now. Remember that you are inherently worthy of this peace. You don't have to earn the right to be at ease. It's your birthright. From the day you arrived on this earth, you belonged. As we near the closing chapters of this journey, let this truth settle in. Who you are, beneath all the doing and trying, is something wondrous and whole. The more you trust in that, the more life will meet you with that same trust, reflecting back to you your own enoughness. So, allow yourself to be, without rush, without strive, if only for a few moments each day. In that space, you might touch the deep well of serenity that has been inside you all along. That serenity will accompany you through all your doings, making each step softer and more aligned. This is the ease of being, and it is one of the sweetest forms of letting go. Chapter 21. Synchronicity, the universe responds. Have you ever experienced a meaningful coincidence that felt like more than mere chance? Perhaps you were thinking about an old friend and received a call or message from them that very day. Or you were pondering a big life change, and suddenly you keep seeing references to it everywhere, in articles, conversations, even on billboards. These are examples of synchronicity, those mysterious coincidences that seem like the universe is winking at you or gently nudging you along a path. When you let go, align your energy, and live in a state of trust and presence, you often become more attuned to these synchronicities. It's as if, by stepping into flow, the universe responds by arranging little guideposts and affirmations for you. Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, coined synchronicity to describe how meaningful coincidences can reflect our inner state or needs. It's a way in which inner and outer reality seem to sync up. In the context of the reversal code, synchronicities can be seen as feedback from reality when you are in alignment. They are not something you can force. You can't chase or demand a coincidence. They tend to happen when you're relaxed and open. Many people find that after they release a desperate hold on something, signs related to it start to pop up, or opportunities connected to it seem to come out of the blue. For example, one person struggling to find a job decided to stop panicking, and instead got very clear on what she wanted and then let it go for the weekend. During that weekend, while casually chatting at a cafe, she met someone who happened to know of an opening that matched exactly what she described, a synchronistic encounter that led to her new job. Another person might have been searching for direction in life, and then notices that every book or movie they come across lately carries a similar message, guiding them toward considering a particular path. Are these just accidents or something more? You can interpret them in the way that resonates with you, whether as divine guidance, the work of your subconscious drawing connections, or simply the natural consequence of being more observant and positive. Regardless of the interpretation, the effect is often a sense of wonder and support. It's as if the universe is saying, "I see you, I'm with you." To welcome synchronicity, continue practicing the principles you've learned. Surrender, presence, allowing. Also, cultivate awareness. Synchronicities can be subtle, so pay attention to repeating patterns or unusual alignments in your daily life. Keep a playful, curious attitude. You might even talk to the universe in your mind and say, "I'm open to guidance, show me a sign," and then let it go, not expecting anything specific but remaining attentive. A fun practice is to choose a harmless, random symbol, say, a blue butterfly or a particular phrase, and set an intention like, "If I'm on the right track with my current journey, let me see a blue butterfly soon." Then forget about it. You might be surprised when a day or two later you encounter a blue butterfly in an artwork, or one flutters by outdoors at an unlikely moment. Treat it as a little cosmic wink, a confirmation that you're aligned. Even without actively looking for signs, life has a way of weaving itself meaningfully when you are in flow. The key is to remain not too attached to needing a sign, but open enough to notice if they arise. Synchronicities often break the ice of doubt in our hearts. They remind us that we are not alone in this journey. There are forces at play beyond what we can plan or imagine. Reflect for a moment. Can you recall a synchronistic moment in your past? Something that felt like perfect timing or a meaningful coincidence? How did it make you feel? Often, such moments leave us with a sense of awe, as though we've glimpsed a hint of a larger tapestry in which our life is interwoven. Embrace that feeling. As you continue to let go and live in alignment, trust that the universe hears the silent intentions of your heart. Maybe not every day will have dazzling coincidences, but you might start noticing more gentle serendipities, the right information coming when you need it, meeting people who inspire or help you at just the right time, or small blessings that make your path easier. Each synchronicity, no matter how small, is like a friendly tap on the shoulder reminding you that you're in the flow. In this dance with the universe, synchronicities are the moments when your dance partner gives you a delightful spin. Enjoy them, be grateful for them, and let them reinforce your faith that when you let go and align, the universe responds. It responds not always with words or direct answers, but with events and encounters that guide and support you. Stay open and let the magic unfold. Chapter 22. The Mirror of Life. Life has a reflective quality. In many ways, the world around you acts like a mirror, echoing back your inner state. When you're feeling joyful and generous, doesn't it seem like people around you smile more, and things fall into place? And when you're angry or anxious, you tend to encounter more friction. The slow cashier feels like they're purposely testing you. Traffic lights seem to conspire against you. Small mishaps multiply. While external events do happen at random, our interpretation and the energy we bring to them can dramatically color our experiences. It's been said, "As within, so without." Imagine two individuals walking through the same city on the same morning. Alice woke up feeling grateful and calm. She takes a moment to appreciate the sunrise on her way out. Bob woke up late, cursing the day, and rushes out the door in a huff. Alice, carrying inner peace, notices the barista's friendly smile when she gets her coffee. She doesn't mind the brief wait in line, using it to take a deep breath. Bob, carrying frustration, grumbles at the line and snaps at the barista for moving too slow. In return, he gets a curt service and spills coffee on his shirt because he's moving too aggressively. Alice walks down the street and notices a bird singing, the cool morning air. Her mood makes space for these little blessings. Bob storms down the street and all he sees is obstacles. That same bird startles him, the cool air is too chilly, and he bumps into someone because he's not looking, which leads to an angry exchange. By noon, Alice feels like the world is a pretty nice place today, while Bob feels like the world is out to get him. We all have days like Alice and days like Bob. The point isn't to blame ourselves for every bad thing that happens, but to recognize the power we have in shaping our reality through our inner attitudes. When you cultivate calm, life tends to calm down around you. People often subconsciously respond to the energy you emit. Your inner state can influence your tone of voice, your posture, your patience, all of which invite corresponding reactions from others. This mirroring effect is also central to many spiritual teachings and the law of attraction, the idea that the frequency you vibrate at attracts similar frequencies in life. If you are habitually fearful, you might gravitate towards situations that confirm your fears or interpret events in a fearful way. If you develop a habit of trust and positivity, you might notice more opportunities and reasons to keep trusting. Use this mirroring principle as a guide, not as an absolute rule. It's not that you caused every external event. Life has its own flow, but you do cause the flavor and meaning those events have for you. And by shifting your inner world, you influence the outer. You can begin each day by setting the tone internally. Perhaps upon waking, instead of immediately worrying or checking news, which can impose an outside mood on you, you take a minute to cultivate a positive state through gratitude, a deep breath, or a gentle affirmation like, "I intend to carry peace today." Think of it as polishing your inner mirror so that what reflects outward and back is clearer and kinder. Over time, you'll likely see a pattern. When you are centered in presence, surrender, and positivity, the world behaves more pleasantly. When you slip into negativity and strain, the world presents more bumps and bruises. It's a dance, and life is following your lead. This is why transforming yourself is the most potent way to transform your experience of reality. When you let go inside, let go of tension, fear, excessive control, life tends to loosen up too. In the grandest sense, when you bow inwardly to the truth of your presence, accepting and honoring yourself and the moment, reality bows back, reflecting that inner harmony in countless ways. Keep this mirror principle in mind as you continue to align with the reversal code, and watch as your world begins to shine with the peace you cultivate within. Chapter 23. Becoming Magnetic. Aligning your energy. Everything is made of energy, including our thoughts, emotions, and intentions. When your energy, meaning your predominant mood, mindset, and emotional state, is aligned with the qualities of what you desire, you naturally become more magnetic to those things. It's as if you're broadcasting a frequency that resonates with what you want to attract. This is a cornerstone of many manifestation teachings. Like attracts like. But it's also common sense in everyday life. Positive people tend to attract positive experiences. Confident people often draw opportunities. And compassionate people invite love. Think of someone you know who has a kind of magnetic presence. It's not necessarily about physical attractiveness. It's something in their vibe. Perhaps they are genuinely enthusiastic, and so people want to help them and be around them. Or they exude calm confidence, and thus opportunities come to them because others trust them. On the flip side, we've likely all encountered someone who constantly complains and expects the worst. They often seem to run into one problem after another, almost as if trouble sniffs out their negativity. Aligning your energy doesn't mean forcing yourself to be happy 24/7 or denying authentic feelings. It means cultivating the inner states that match what you ultimately seek. For example, if you desire a loving relationship, becoming magnetic to love involves generating love within yourself, being loving to others, and crucially, to yourself. If you seek abundance, it helps to practice feeling abundant, noticing the richness of life around you and what you already have, rather than dwelling in lack. If you want peace, bring moments of peace into each day through mindfulness or appreciation. One practical approach is to identify the core feeling behind your goal. Ask, why do I want this thing? What feeling do I hope it will give me? If the answer is security, joy, freedom, or validation, you can start cultivating that feeling right now in small ways. This not only makes you feel better, no more waiting for a distant outcome to permit you happiness, but it also aligns your energy with that outcome. Let's say your goal is a new job that excites you. Perhaps the feelings you seek are creativity, recognition, and financial ease. How can you tap into those feelings today? Maybe you engage in a creative hobby after work, or take on a small project that ignites you. You acknowledge and appreciate where you are already valued in life, friends or colleagues who recognize you, building a sense of being seen. You manage your current finances wisely and gratefully, cultivating a mindset of enoughness and flow. By doing so, you start to embody the energy of someone who is creative, valued, and abundant, essentially becoming a match for that dream job. Then, when you apply or interview, that energy shines through and the fit is natural. An exercise in energy alignment is visualization with feeling. You've touched on this in previous chapters, imagining your desire fulfilled and, most importantly, feeling the emotions of that reality as if it's here. Your imagination is a powerful tool to rehearse the vibrations you want to live in. If you consistently practice feeling those elevated emotions, like gratitude, joy, love, success, you establish a new baseline mood that influences your actions and the responses you get from the world. Also, pay attention to your environment and input. Surround yourself with influences that match what you want to align with. Music, books, people, and environments carry energy. If you want optimism and empowerment, spend time with optimistic, empowering content and individuals. This isn't to live in a bubble, but to support your energy alignment, especially while it's developing. Becoming magnetic is often a gradual process of inner transformation. Initially, it might feel unfamiliar to carry the higher feelings if you've been used to worry or pessimism. But each time you shift into a state of gratitude or excitement for no external reason, consider it like tuning up your signal. Over time, those states become more natural. And as they do, you will likely notice changes around you. Perhaps more coincidences that further your goals, as we discussed with synchronicity, people responding to you with more positivity, or simply your own change in perception making opportunities visible that you once overlooked. It's important to note that aligning your energy is not about blaming yourself for any hardship. Did I attract this negativity? Life is complex. Self-blame isn't helpful. Instead, use this concept proactively, not to dissect the past, but to shape the future. It's about stepping into your personal power to influence what you can, your own state, and trusting that this will influence your life landscape. As you practice being the kind of person who already lives in the peace, love, and fulfillment you seek, you transform into a magnet for those experiences. It's less about pulling things from outside and more about radiating from the inside, which then draws in matching circumstances like iron filings drawn to a magnet. With aligned energy, you don't have to chase so hard. Opportunities find you, or you effortlessly find them, because you and the goal are resonating on the same wavelength. So, ask yourself, what am I broadcasting today? And know that at any moment, you can gently tune your dial to a higher station. Through a thought of gratitude, a moment of kindness, a deep breath of trust, and in doing so, you're tuning your life toward the reality your heart truly desires. Chapter 24: Effortless Manifestation. By now you have woven together many threads: surrender, trust, allowing, alignment, gratitude, presence. What emerges is a new way of manifesting your desires, one that feels almost effortless compared to the old paradigm of constant striving. Effortless manifestation doesn't mean you do nothing at all. It means the process of bringing your dreams into reality happens with a sense of flow and synchronicity, without excessive toil or worry. It feels as if the universe is collaborating with you every step of the way. Let's illustrate with a composite story that might sound familiar. Imagine a man named David who spent years desperately trying to start his own business. He would force himself to network incessantly, overplan every detail, and lose sleep ruminating on why opportunities weren't knocking. The more he pushed, the more frustrated he became as deals fell through and partners lost interest. Eventually, out of sheer exhaustion, David decided to step back. He remembered reading about letting go and decided to try a different approach. He clarified his vision one last time and then gave himself permission to stop forcing it for a while. In that space, David took care of himself. He rested, pursued hobbies he loved, and worked on his mindset, cultivating gratitude for the little wins he already had and engaging with life beyond his singular obsession. He also did inner work, noticing and releasing some fears of failure that had been driving his frantic efforts. A subtle shift happened. He still wanted his business, but he wasn't chasing it like before. Within a short period, things started moving. At a social event, which he finally attended with an open mind, instead of hiding away to work, he casually mentioned his idea to an acquaintance who happened to have resources and was looking for a project to invest in. The connection was genuine and unforced. Meetings followed, now marked by enthusiasm and creativity rather than anxiety. In a few months, David's venture had backing and began to take off. He often marveled, "When I stopped trying so hard, the right help just showed up." Of course, he still put in effort, drafting proposals, setting up the business, but it felt enjoyable and supported, not an uphill battle against constant resistance. This is the essence of effortless manifestation. Your journey might be different, but the principles are the same. By aligning yourself and then letting go of the desperate grip, you allow your desires to manifest in the best possible way, which might sometimes be a bit different than you envisioned, but often better suited to your true needs. Sometimes the universe delivers not what you asked for, but what you meant or what will truly fulfill you. Effortless manifestation has a touch of magic because it engages that greater intelligence of life. It's worth mentioning. Effortless does not mean instant or without any action. It means you take inspired action, as we discussed, when it arises, but you are not constantly fighting, worrying, or forcing. There's a sense of ease and perfect timing. If something isn't coming together, you have the wisdom to step back and let it breathe, rather than trying to ram it through. To experience this for yourself, you might start with a modest intention as a kind of playful experiment. Choose something you'd like to manifest that feels believable and light. Perhaps finding a new social connection who shares a hobby, or receiving an unexpected little sum of money, or discovering a solution to a household issue. Set the intention clearly in your mind or write it down. Then apply the set it and forget it approach, hand it over to the universe and detach from it. Over the next days or weeks, focus on keeping your own state uplifted. Engage in your joys. Stay present. Be appreciative of what is. Watch for any nudges to act, and follow them if they feel right. Maybe you feel like visiting a new park or checking a certain website. Do it without overthinking. Then, simply observe what happens. Many people are delighted when these small experiments yield results, sometimes in uncanny ways. It builds trust that larger goals can also manifest when we apply the same principles, scaled up with patience. And even if a specific outcome doesn't appear immediately, often something beneficial does happen. Perhaps you get a lesson or meet a person who later becomes key to your desire. Effortless manifestation is not always linear. It's a dance of co-creation. By now you understand. This approach to life is not about being lazy or passive. It's about wise, calibrated action and deep partnership with the universe. You do your part by getting clear and staying open. The universe does its part by arranging the details you could never micromanage. As you practice this, you may find your relationship with your desires change. They become less feverish and more like invitations. You send out a heartfelt invitation, your intention, and life RSVPs in its own brilliant way. It might say, yes, and here's more than you asked for, or not this, but something better, or sometimes not yet, trust the timing. In every case, when you remain in tune, you'll see the eventual wisdom in how it unfolds. Effortless manifestation ultimately brings a sense of joy and fun back into creating your life. Instead of a heavy task, it becomes a delightful adventure. You begin to expect good things, without demanding them on your rigid schedule. And thus, good things find you, often when you least expect, but exactly when you're ready. Take a breath and smile. You've learned to let go, and in doing so, you have unlocked the doors for your dreams to gently walk through. That is the beauty of manifesting the effortless way. Chapter 25. Living in Flow, Your New Path. Imagine stepping into each day with a sense of trust and openness, rather than tension and control. Imagine handling challenges with grace, viewing them as part of a larger story unfolding for your growth. Envision successes coming into your life, not by squeezing and straining, but as natural outcomes of your aligned actions and surrendered patience. This is what living in flow looks like, and it can become your new path going forward. By living in flow, you cultivate a kind of inner navigation system that steers you with intuition and ease. You no longer feel like a lone fighter against the world. You feel like a participant in a grand dance with reality. When obstacles arise, you don't immediately tense up or despair. You've learned to pause, breathe, and maybe even say, "Interesting. Let's see where this leads." When opportunities knock, you're awake to hear them because your mind isn't clattered with worry. On this new path, you will still set goals and pursue dreams, but the energy around them will be different. It's like the difference between rowing a boat upstream versus letting the river carry you downstream as you gently steer. You choose directions that feel right, then allow the current of life to assist you. You'll find you're more flexible. If one route is blocked, you find another or ride a detour without losing faith. Those around you may notice a change. They might say you seem calmer or happier, or that things seem to work out for you more often. It's not luck exactly, it's your flow. Your calm presence can even positively influence others, a ripple effect of your alignment. Just as stress and anger can spread, so can peace and positivity. By living in flow, you quietly give others permission to let go a bit of their own struggles, to trust a bit more in their own journey. Take a moment now to visualize your life in flow. Perhaps close your eyes. Picture yourself in the near future, say, a year from now. If you consistently applied these principles, see a typical day. How do you wake up? Maybe you start with a moment of gratitude or gentle breathing. How do you approach your work or daily tasks? Perhaps with focus but also lightness, taking breaks when needed, not driving yourself to burnout. How do you interact with family, friends, or colleagues? You might listen more, stress less about small irritations, and find more harmonious resolutions because you're not reacting from ego or fear. Picture facing a big challenge in this future scenario, maybe an unexpected life change or a project that tests you. Watch how you respond differently now. You acknowledge your feelings but don't spiral. You recall to surrender what you can't control and to take inspired action on what you can. See yourself seeking the lesson or opportunity hidden in the challenge rather than asking, "Why me?" And indeed, as time passes in this visualization, notice how that challenge transforms into a breakthrough or a new direction that benefits you. Now imagine moments of joy in this future life, perhaps realizing a dream is manifested. See yourself in that moment of success, feeling grateful and somewhat in awe at how it unfolded with such perfect timing. Perhaps you recall the journey it took, the letting go, the synchronicities, and you smile, knowing this is the way life can be when you live in flow. In that moment of achievement, you might quietly thank your past self for having the courage to trust and let go. As you return to the present moment, know that this path of flow is available to you starting now. You have all the tools and insights you need to walk it. Of course, you're human, and there will be days it's easier and days it's harder. Flow isn't about never stumbling. It's about stumbling and then recovering with kindness to yourself, getting back into rhythm without harsh judgment. Practical things will support you on this new path. Maybe a regular meditation or reflection practice to keep you grounded. Maybe journaling to track how letting go is impacting your life, so you can reinforce your trust by seeing your own evidence. Surround yourself with reminders. A quote on your wall, a stone in your pocket that reminds you to let it be, or even a friend who is on a similar journey with whom you share experiences. Living in flow is a dynamic state. It's not static bliss, but it's a deeply satisfying way to experience life. It means you're living fully engaged, yet not attached, ambitious yet at peace, moving forward yet deeply rooted in the now. You become, in a sense, unshakable, not because circumstances always go your way, but because you always find your way with whatever circumstances come. As you commit to this path, give yourself grace. Changing long-held habits of control or worry takes practice, but every time you choose flow over force, it gets easier. Every time you witness the benefits, a resolved conflict, a lucky break, a sweet moment of calm, your confidence in this approach grows. This is your new path if you so choose, a life where you work with reality, not against it, where you trust your presence to guide you, and where you welcome each day as an ally. Step by step, breath by breath, you're already walking it. Keep going and enjoy the journey. Chapter 26. The Reversal Code in Practice. We've journeyed through many concepts, and now it's useful to consolidate them into practical principles, a kind of toolkit you can carry with you. Think of these as the core tenets of the Reversal Code, a guide for when you need reminders on how to let go and flow. Here are key practices to live by. Surrender the struggle. When you notice yourself forcing or obsessing, pause. Take a deep breath and consciously let go of the tight grip. Instead of pushing harder, step back. Acknowledge what you can't control and hand it over, whether to the universe, fate, or simply by deciding, "I'm not going to stress about this now." This creates space for solutions to emerge. Allow and accept. Practice non-resistance to what is. Rather than fighting reality or dwelling in, "It shouldn't be this way," say, "It is what it is," and focus on your next move. Embrace situations and yourself as they are in this moment. By allowing things to be, you paradoxically enable them to change more easily. Remember, water flows where resistance stops. Trust the process. Cultivate trust in life. Remind yourself that there is a bigger picture unfolding. Even if you can't see it, assume that the universe, or your deeper self, is guiding you. Whenever anxiety about the future arises, replace it with an affirmation like, "Things are working out, even if I don't see how yet." Lean into faith. It will give you peace in uncertainty. Live in the now with gratitude. Keep anchoring in the present moment. When your mind races ahead, gently bring it back to what you are doing right now. Engage your senses to ground yourself. And practice gratitude daily. List a few things you're thankful for. This shifts your focus to abundance and trains you to see the positive. A grateful, present heart doesn't feel lacking, and from that state, more good can flow. Align your energy. Pay attention to your inner state. Ask, does my mood match what I want to attract? If you seek love, embody kindness and self-love. If you seek success, cultivate confidence and enthusiasm. Do things that raise your vibration, listening to uplifting music, taking a walk, meditating, laughing. Become internally what you wish to experience externally. This alignment makes you magnetic to your desires. Act on inspiration. In the flow of letting go, action is still important, but it's a different kind of action. Stay alert to intuitive nudges or opportunities that feel right. When you feel a spark of inspiration or a door cracks open, act on it. This might mean calling someone, exploring an idea, or simply saying yes to an invitation. These actions won't feel like a grind. They'll feel guided and energized. You won't need to force, you'll naturally want to do them. Be patient and open. Finally, give things time to unfold. Practice patience, which is trusting in divine or natural timing. Avoid the urge to constantly check, has it happened yet? Or to declare failure too soon. Keep your mind and heart open to outcomes that might differ from your expectations. Sometimes what arrives isn't exactly what you imagined, but it is exactly what you need. Maintain an open, curious attitude. Life might surprise you in wonderful ways. Keep this list of principles handy. You might even revisit it whenever you feel off-center. Each of these steps reinforces the others. Together, they form a holistic approach to life that takes you out of tug-of-war with reality and places you in harmony with it. Remember, practice is the key word. Some days, you'll naturally live these steps. Other days, you'll forget and find yourself tense or controlling again. That's okay. Simply notice and gently guide yourself back to these basics. Over time, they will become more of a default mode. This reversal code is essentially about reversing the conventional approach of fear-driven effort into one of trust-driven ease. It's not about inaction, it's about efficient, heart-guided action. It's not about apathy, it's about wise engagement. By putting these principles into practice, you make your daily life the training ground for mastery of flow. Little by little, you'll recondition your mind and nervous system to operate with calm and confidence. And when you look back, you'll likely see that the moments you applied these steps were the turning points where things started to click. So, whenever in doubt, come back to these fundamentals. Surrender, allow, trust, be present, align, act with inspiration, and be patient. This is your code for reversing the stress and struggle into peace and progress. With this code, you're not just waiting for reality to change. You're changing yourself, which changes the way reality interacts with you. That's the power of the reversal code in practice. Chapter 27. Reality bows to your presence. Throughout this journey, we've discovered a profound truth. When you let go, reality bows to your presence. This isn't a poetic exaggeration. It's a lived experience you are already beginning to taste. By relinquishing the frantic chase and standing calmly in your own being, you have stepped into a gentle power that influences the world around you in remarkable ways. Picture yourself now, not as someone who must run after life, but as someone who stands at the center of your own life like a peaceful king or queen in their domain. There's no need to dominate. Your very presence, aligned, trusting, and serene, causes circumstances to align around you. Opportunities approach, people respond, and even challenges yield their hidden gifts. This is reality bowing, not in servitude, but in natural response to the energy you emit. Recall the many metaphors we've used: the butterfly landing when you sit still, the river carrying you when you float, the reed surviving the storm by bending, the mirror of life reflecting your smile. They all point to this central idea: life meets you where you are. When you show up with peace, life becomes peaceful. When you emanate confidence in the unseen workings of the universe, life gives you reasons to be confident. This final moment in our journey is not an end, but a beginning, the beginning of your life lived in this state of empowered surrender. You have learned the paradox. By giving up the illusory control you never truly had, you gain a far greater command over your experience. It's the command that comes not from force, but from harmony. It's like you've learned to sing in tune with reality, and now reality can't help but blend its music with yours. Take a deep breath and feel the magnitude of how far you've come. The burdens on your shoulders are lighter. The knots in your stomach are looser. You have tools for when fear or stress knocks at your door. You know how to release, how to trust, how to wait for the right moment. You know how to drop into the present and find its richness. These are enormous gifts. There will be times, of course, when life tests you, when storms come or old habits resurface. But even then, remember this: the calm, powerful center you found during this journey is still there inside you. You can return to your breath, return to surrender, and watch reality respond once more. With practice, this way of being will become more and more your natural state. Eventually, others may ask you, how is it that you remain so centered, or things seem to work out for you? And you may smile, recalling that it's not by might, but by the grace of letting go. As you step forward, carry this knowing in your heart: you are the peaceful warrior, the graceful dancer with the universe. You don't force the rhythm, you flow with it, and in doing so, you shape it. The world bends to meet you. Opportunities gravitate towards your calm confidence, and even fate seems to cooperate with your openness and faith. This is not a fantasy, it's your new reality. The code you've internalized is already at work. Feel a sense of appreciation for yourself, for the courage to try a new way, for the wisdom you've cultivated. Feel appreciation for life itself, for partnering with you in this beautiful experiment of surrender and flow. Now, as we conclude, take one more gentle breath. Inhale possibility, exhale resistance. Look around at your life as it is today, and acknowledge it as the starting point of a bright new chapter. You don't need to strain to make things happen. You need only be fully present, respond from your heart, and allow what you've set in motion to come to you. Go forward with a light step and a trusting heart. When you let go, you do not fall, you rise. When you yield, you do not lose. You gain the entire universe rushing in to support you. Stand in that truth. Live in that grace. This is the power of the reversal code. In this state of alignment and ease, reality bows to your presence, not because you demanded it, but because you became the kind of presence reality cannot help but respond to. This is your journey now. May it be filled with wonder, growth, love, and the continual, gentle unfolding of your highest good. Now you step into life as the creator you were born to be, creating not by force but by your very being. And as you do so, life lovingly bends to meet you. As you let go, it bows to you, and all is as it should be. Close your eyes for a moment, carry this feeling with you, and then step back into your world, renewed, empowered, and at peace. Conclusion. You've now walked the forgotten path not of striving, but of surrender. What you sought was never far away. It was waiting in the stillness. The reversal code was never a secret, only misunderstood. When you stop trying to control life, life becomes effortless. When you release the grip, you receive the gift. Let this wisdom live in you, not as an idea, but as a way of being. No more chasing, no more forcing. From this moment forward, you are the presence to which reality responds. Be still and become the magnet. You are no longer the seeker. You are the source.